unfinished Gounod Quintet quite honestly mystifies me. I'd love to know why he wrote it and where he thought it was going. There is part of me that looks at it and sees it as a compositional exercise. It looks like a teacher has set an assignment, which is to write the opening introduction for a string quartet plus a wind instrument of the student's choice. But as it appears to be from around 1855, 1856, at which stage Gounod was in his late 30s, so it's obviously not from his student days, maybe he was just seeing whether such a venture, whether horn quintet was viable, in which case he has chosen a very odd key in which to write. The first time I saw the manuscript, it confused me, as it's clearly marked horn in C, and for a moment I thought perhaps I was looking at a concert pitch score and that the horn part was going to be in a different key. This often happens. Sometimes we have to extrapolate from the notes chosen what the crook should be. Normally, but not always, it's the same as the key of the piece. So for example, an E-flat major work normally requires E-flat crook. As Gounod's history with the instrument is a little complex, some of his pieces are for the valve horn and some are for the natural horn, when I first looked at it, I was looking to work out what instrument it could be for. The bizarre thing is it's clearly a natural horn work. It's very strongly based around the open harmonics. There isn't one stop note, but it's in C basso. I think this is the only solo or chamber music piece other than the Schubert octet that writes for horn and C basso. It really is so vanishingly rare to have a solo piece in this key. The reason being that it's a low crook, so it's a little slower than the traditional solo crooks of D, E flat, E, F and G. It's a bit heavy and less flexible, so it's not often used for solo music. Gounod does write for horns in B flat basso, so even lower in his Petit Symphonie for winds. But even in that work, most of the interesting melodic writing for the horns is reserved for the movements where the horns are in the more soloistic key of E flat. I think what we have of this piece is absolutely tantalizing. It's just the first 50 odd bars, really just an introduction. The point at which it stops just leaves the horn on its own on a low G. It feels almost like that note was some sort of place saver, an ellipsis. Maybe he was going to come back at a later date. I'd love it if someone was able to complete it, but it feels as if the introduction contains maybe not enough material for this to be feasible. But if anybody wanted to have a go, I'd love to see what they came up with.